All right, the Pentagon is investigating what it's calling leaks of national security information. Defense Department employees could face polygraph tests to determine who's responsible for the leak. CBS News senior national security correspondent Charlie D'Agata joins us now to talk about this. I think this is sort of remarkable, Charlie. I saw Elon Musk tweeting about it, or whatever they call it, Xing about it. Saying that people will be found. It's sort of like a witch hunt, reminiscent of I guess, the glory days of the Saddam Hussein regime, where they, went after people within their own parties or within their own government. But can they really implement these polygraph tests to figure out who's talking to the press, which isn't illegal?
No, Vlad, another day, another drama here at the Pentagon. So the memo dropped over the weekend, and it referred to recent unauthorized disclosures. So it didn't specify exactly what was leaked or allegedly leaked. And this is where the sort of witch hunt comes on, as you mentioned, right? Because it came on the same day that Elon Musk visited the Pentagon. That was on Friday, amid reports that he had been briefed or was about to be briefed on what the DoD calls O plans or operational plans, and that those plans were to include classified information about how the United States would conduct military operations in the event of a war with China, including what to target and when. So then there were those fierce denials, not least from President Trump, Secretary Pete Hegseth, the DoD spokesman Sean Parnell, who demanded a retraction. Then came this memo from the DoD Chief of Staff Joe Casper later that night, saying the use of polygraphs in the execution of the investigation will be in accordance to the law, instructing that investigation to begin immediately. It follows a similar investigation. You want to talk about witch hunt. The Department of Homeland Security has launched one. They say they're going to use polygraphs or lie detector tests, as well as about the same time, the Department of Justice is going to launch their own investigation. So lots of investigations going on. That one is to the selective leak of what they call inaccurate or nonetheless classified information about those Venezuelan drug gangs. But that kind of raises the question of when does a leak become a lie? Because, in my experience, it's usually one or the other, not both.
Right. And again, this is just, it's sort of remarkable that we're having this conversation. I'm just thinking back to Mark Felt, of course, who people will know was Deep Throat during the Watergate era. At least we found out that he was Deep Throat. Imagine the most paranoid president in American history, at least up until recent times, Richard Nixon, had said, you know what, everybody's got to go through a polygraph test at the FBI to figure out who's leaking information to Woodward and Bernstein. I guess the question then becomes, could there actually be any repercussions other than potentially losing your job?
Well, I was just discussing that with my wife. I used to be afraid of war zones. Now I'm afraid of not only losing my job, but going to jail. So the memo was brief, right? It's just one page. And that's how it dropped, right?
Because you mean that if somebody leaked to you, you think that they would come after you?
Well, it's because it's so vaguely worded, okay? So it does say the report will include a complete record of unauthorized disclosures within the Department of Defense and recommend how to improve those efforts. But then it says, if those efforts result in identifying a party responsible for an unauthorized disclosure, they will be referred to the appropriate law enforcement entity for criminal prosecution. So the way it stands, it's not just the leaker who gives the information out, but the people who maybe publish and broadcast that information as well. They may be found, or it may be put toward an entity that would chase criminal prosecution.
That is scary. And even though former CBS Evening News anchor Dan Rather found himself on Nixon's enemies list, they never did anything about it. It was just a list that existed. But if you're now talking that they would actually go after members of the press who are given information and then choose to run with it, that is frightening.
Yeah. So, Vlad, I just want to point out, yes, because a lot of this had to do with the New York Times and their article, because others had followed that. I tried to get a confirmation that Elon Musk had been briefed, and I never got it. In fact, I got quite the opposite, a huge fight pushing back against that. But New York Times has simply said, look, this is just going to have a chilling effect across the media. It's sort of a veiled threat aimed at all of us.
Yeah, that's true. And a point well taken. Charlie D'Agata for us at the Pentagon this morning. Charlie, thank you.